Why explaining yourself too much weakens you. There's a quiet habit that many thoughtful, introspective people fall into without even noticing. They explain themselves again and again, not because they owe anyone an explanation, but because they sincerely want to be understood. They want harmony, not friction. They want to clear the air, to show good intent. But here's the problem. This endless explaining gradually weakens you. Stoic philosophers, centuries before we invented the language of psychology, warned about this trap. They saw how giving your piece over to the opinions of others can quietly erode your foundation. And today, in an age of constant feedback and online discourse, that lesson feels more urgent than ever. You see, over-explaining doesn't usually come from insecurity. It comes from care. Conscientious people, the kind who think before they act, are especially vulnerable to this. You don't want to be unfair. You don't want to be misunderstood. You don't want to seem cold or rude. So when someone questions you, you clarify. When they hesitate, you elaborate. When they challenge, you justify. It feels like the right thing to do. You're making sure no one walks away hurt or confused. But over time, something subtle changes. Your decisions start to sound like requests. You stop moving from conviction and start waiting for permission. You might still call it politeness, but underneath it's a quiet surrender of self-trust. And this is where it begins to drain your strength. Not physical strength, but moral and emotional strength. When you explain yourself too much, you train people how to treat you. You're telling them, often unconsciously, that your no isn't firm, that your intentions are open for discussion. You send a message that your decisions require validation. You start teaching others that your boundaries are flexible. And if they push, you'll respond, not with a clear line, but with another explanation. The more you do this, the less people respect your words. Not because they're cruel, but because you're signaling that you don't fully trust your own authority. Eventually, even your genuine sincerity can start to sound like defensiveness. And that's when fatigue sets in. Not just from having to explain, but from realizing that all your explaining doesn't actually work. Epictetus warned, when you are disturbed by anything outside yourself, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but your interpretation of it. In modern terms, that means the moment we hinge our peace on being understood by others, we've already surrendered it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself constantly that not everyone deserves an explanation. Waste no more time arguing what a good person should be. Be one. That line, simple as it is, cuts deep. It's not about arrogance or detachment, it's about focus. You act according to your principles, and that action is its own argument. The Stoics weren't against communication or empathy. They valued reason deeply, but they also recognized that explanations are meaningful only when they happen in good faith, when both sides actually want to understand. If someone isn't seeking clarity but control, your words become ammunition, not bridges. Why explanations don't always bring understanding? Let's be honest. When someone asks, "Why would you do that?" after hearing your reasoning for the fourth time, are they really confused? Or are they testing how much of yourself you'll give to earn approval? People who benefit from your doubt rarely want clarity. They want leverage. And no amount of explaining will satisfy them, because that's not what they're looking for. Every time you rephrase or stretch your reasoning to win their understanding, you're offering up a little more of your peace. It's like pouring water into a sieve. The Stoic answer isn't to go silent or cold. It's to become precise, to know when to explain and when to let your decisions speak for themselves. That restraint isn't withdrawal, it's mastery. Stoicism doesn't ask you to stop caring. It asks you to stop chasing. Stop chasing validation that was never yours to control. Clarity over explanation. That's the Stoic way. Say what you mean simply. Act with integrity. Keep your tone calm and your words few. When challenged, you don't need to perform your reasoning. You only need to live it. Instead of persuading, you proceed. Instead of defending, you demonstrate. Instead of convincing, you continue. That confidence is not pride, it's trust. Trust in your own reasoning, your own values, your own calm. The goal of life isn't to be endlessly understood. It's to live in alignment with your principles, even when others don't applaud them. Peace begins, as the Stoics wrote, the moment you stop arguing your worth with those who never intended to see it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, no longer talk about the kind of man a good man ought to be, but be such. This applies perfectly to our modern tendency to over-explain ourselves. In today's hyper-connected world, we often feel compelled to justify our choices, defend our boundaries, and seek validation for our decisions. The Stoic alternative is refreshingly direct. Let your actions speak louder than your explanations. When you consistently act with integrity and clear purpose, you create a pattern that requires no defense. Your reputation becomes built on what you do, not what you say about what you do. This isn't about becoming cold or dismissive. Rather, it's about recognizing when explanation becomes justification and when justification becomes a surrender of your inner authority. By speaking less and demonstrating more, you build genuine respect, both from others and, more importantly, from yourself. The next time you feel that urge to explain yourself extensively, pause and ask, is this clarification necessary, or am I seeking approval? Often, a simple statement followed by decisive action communicates far more effectively than 1,000 words of explanation.